second. No, he no. Shalom, give us 1 second. We're going live on both.
Oh yes. Oh wait. We'll wait a few more seconds. All right. All these souls technologies failing just like him. Hey, shalom, shalom. We're the brothers of the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago. And first and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto
Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Kakadash.
Double honors unto the apostles, double honors to the elder bishops. Salutations to all our fellow laborers that are doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. Now more so than ever, the would-be judges, the 144,000, the tabernacle of David, ordained to be the ruling class people, the ruling government, the ruling race over all other nations, all other races, all other governments, all other people, under the authority of who the world fraudulently and falsely calls JC.
That's right.
His name is Yahushai. Always was, always will be. All right, and to the rest of the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled birds, the Israelite foreigners, among the heathen nations, that have the appearance of the heathen nations. All right, and to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you we say shalom. And we're just going to go right into this thing, this history about the name stealers. This, I was watching the beloved brother Elder Manat Zakba do a lesson, and that's what made me think about it. And I posed a question, if someone could put this question into their AI. And so you got to be careful what you say to AI, all right? Because how you get it to give you the correct answers, and the answers that they really don't want to give you, but they're forced to. Because they're definitely, AI is designed, because I got a bunch of things that I got saved that I'm going to do lessons on, where it took 4 and 5 times to find again. And then they'll tell you one thing, but when you trap them up with factual history about something that they can't argue with, then they'll turn around and say, oh yeah, you know, about that part. Okay? So the question is why did the Chinese, the ancient Chinese in the Middle Ages or the Dark Ages, refer to the Khazarians as the name stealers? All right? Can somebody put that in the search engine? All right? Why did the Chinese in the Dark Ages refer to the Khazarians, the Khazars, as the name stealers? Okay? You go ahead and read that Habakkuk, brother. Habakkuk.
Okay, it's Habakkuk 2:1. It says, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision, and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth.
Right. And now we're in that time where the visions are plain. All right? And they're happening. And they're not tarrying. You can read the next part.
Yep. It says, behold, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. Verse 3, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry.
And that's where we are. The Wadi Yahweh Bashem Shai. We're literally in the last moments of the last days. This very month, all hell could break loose, and I hope it be so. You know, and Esau, if we're a bunch of false prophets and just madmen and just angry black men, as you like to call us, you know, why are you so worried?
Right.
Why would you try to block information and hide information?
That's it.
All right, if this was not the truth. That's another clue. Why are you trying to bury this information so bad? If we were just a bunch of buffoons and this was all just false, you just laugh at us and ignore us and keep coming.
I could do everything else in
Right.
the world today.
Exactly. When real news happens, you ignore it.
That's right.
All right. With something, you know, especially if it's not to your benefit, you just don't put it on in your media. Like, you know, it took some outside intervention to see the destruction in Tel Aviv, to see that Israel is actually getting bombed and destroyed. But the mainstream media is not showing you that. All right? That they're getting touched, which also proves that they can't be the people of the Lord.
That's it.
Because when the Israelites go home, you know, they will dwell in that land
Safety of home.
in peace and safety. So did anybody put that question in?
The only thing that came up was something from Wikipedia, and it says.
Did you do it under AI?
Oh, it's like it.
AI, brother.
It's like it.
Why did the Chinese in the Middle Ages refer to the Khazarians or the Khazars as the name stealers?
I don't have AI, but I did look it up, but it has that good information.
Okay, well let's hear it. Let's hear it.
I'm going to start midway down. It reads, these theories, because they called it theories,
Okay.
these theories stem from an anti-Semitic conspiracy that claims modern Ashkenazi Jews are entirely descended from the Khazars.
Wow, now see, we said nothing about. You understand? No one
They
mentioned.
rewrote it back.
Right. He asked about the Khazars. But okay, go ahead.
A historic Turk empire that converted to Judaism.
And there's so much documentation about that written by so many different sources. But I digress. Go ahead.
Theorists falsely allege that these Khazarian Jews assumed the identity or stole the name of the original ancient Israelites and later engaged in a global campaign to subvert or steal the names and identities of other civilizations.
All right. So what about the Chinese part? Let's be very specific. Why did the Chinese, and is there any history of the Chinese accusing the Khazars the Jewish converts of being Khazars? Because we were asking about why the Chinese referred to the Khazars as name stealers specifically. All right, and they gave us all this other information and got away from the question completely.
I'll read the very beginning of that because it gave a first answer, but it was just bullshit. But it says the phrase name stealers regarding the Khazars, often spelled Khazarians, stems from internet conspiracy theories and alternate
Well, what about the Chinese?
and alternative history narratives rather than mainstream Chinese history, is what it said to me.
Well,
I asked it about Chinese and it put Chinese at the end rather
Wow.
than mainstream Chinese history. And then
Right.
they gave me that spill.
Okay.
On the ChatGPT, it said the Chinese dynastic histories of the Old Book of Tang.
So the dynasty, the Tang dynasties. Okay.
Yeah, it says the Old Book of Tang and the New Book of Tang mention of people described or identified with the Khazars, and they'll call them the Kesa or the Hessa. And then it goes into how they were called the name stealers.
So now we have sources of books of the Tang dynasty. All right. And what year were those dynasties? It said 2 different Tang dynasties. Could you give us a year on that? So it turns out that it's not a conspiracy and it's not a theory. So Mal put the question in again. So put the question in your phone. And say, well, the Tang guy put in what he said, that the Tang dynasty identified these Khazars in Chinese history. Why do you say otherwise? Put that.
The Old Book
No, I want him to put that.
Oh, come.
You did enough.
Come.
If I want him to continue his conversation. It's in his. Put there, why did the Tang dynasties refer to the Khazars as the Chinese, as the name stealers? Basically, what you're doing is you're showing that though there is literal record, historical record of this, not theory. So why did they say that? That's the question. Go ahead and get that scripture. I'm reading it.
Which one?
No, you had something. No, put Job 13:4 and Psalms 58:3. Because it is beyond evident that AI is programmed to protect these fictions that have been that has been labeled to be true, and then protect the truth and label it fiction when it comes to this particular sensitive subject matter. All right, so did you put that question in?
Mhm.
What did it say, brother?
It's just, yeah, it's pretty simple. So it reads, the Tang Dynasty, 618-907 AD,
So it just gave you dates now, okay?
interacted with the Khazars,
Wait a second. Okay, go ahead.
a confederation of Turkic peoples in the Eurasian steppes, mainly through diplomacy, trade, and regional conflicts. Records occasionally associated the Khazars, known as, hard to pronounce, Kesa in Chinese sources, with roaming or roving tribes. But there is no historical record indicating the Tang used a translation meaning name stealers. While this specific term does not appear in historical Chinese annals, Tang elites heavily scrutinized nomadic tribes based on clan names and political legitimacy. Here's the context of how the Khazars were perceived to be Chinese.
But then they
Or
brought,
perceived by the Chinese, Slovakia.
so now they brought back the name Khazar again. Okay. So now we got conflicting evidence. Although that one gave you straight out and told you that the Tang dynasties identified them, and so they're trying to doctor it up. If only we spoke Chinese and we had some actually Chinese text to read up for ourselves. But that's okay.
Right, Mandarin and shit.
That's okay, because now we're going to go to the ultimate proof, the ultimate truth. All right, and so we're going to start with Maccabees, the first chapter, because this is the beginning of name stealing in First Maccabees, because we know through artifacts and through history that the Etruscans and the sons of Javan were people of color. They're relics. I have multiple books showing you. Matter of fact, there's a video floating around on YouTube that I plan on doing that has a battle between Memnon and Achilles, and how Achilles actually was afraid of Memnon, and Memnon is a so-called Negro. You know, and they're showing you, and in the history books that I have, Memnon is always showed as a so-called Negro. But when in the movie Troy, Memnon and his armies were all white. You understand? And so Esau gets so angry that I always trying to change history and steal someone's history. The projection. Because your fourth daddies, all right, the founding colonizers, they rewrote and lied about history. They gave you a whitewashed version of history because the relics from the history during the time of the Trojan War, all the people in that land were people of color, of a Negroid, swarthy, dark complected people, and the relics portray that. I have too many books with too many artifacts to prove it. Okay? And Alexander of Macedon, he didn't come into that part of Greece with Troy and all that stuff. They didn't get there until 333 years after that battle. That's when Greece began to change and started becoming pale. Okay, so the battle of that famous battle with Ajax and Achilles and all these characters, the Trojan War, those weren't white men. But Esau's completely whitewashed that history because he has to push the narrative that he's from Eurasia, that he's from that part of Asia that they call Europe, all right, and that's not the case. He's trying to hide himself. Could you go ahead and start to read that First Maccabees?
This is First Maccabees 1 and verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Jettim, had spent to Darius, the king of Persians and Medes.
So we know the Persians and Medes were people of color, swarthy and tawny, brown-skinned people. Okay? We know that. Continue.
That he reigned in the stead, the first over the Greece.
So he reigned the first in his stead, his stock, his race, the first over Greece. Right? Grecians were were the sons of Yavan, and they were people of color. They were not so-called white people. All right. The images of Memnon are evidence of that. Okay, the images of the Etruscans and the Minoans anciently, they're evidence of that. Okay?
Verse 2. And made many wars and won many strongholds.
So they were going throughout Eurasia, all right, warring with everyone, all right, because all of Eurasia and Asia was and Ben Franklin pretty much clarifies that in that 1751 letter that he wrote, paragraph 24. All right, he talks about. Matter of fact, I'll get that because I have it, and then we're going to go back to that. I'll get that because I have it. Let's go to my evidence folder and paragraph 20. I think I have 23 and 24 in somewhere. Hold on, I know I have it. Oh wow! I just came across some Khazarian history that I wasn't even looking for. This is before I read paragraph 23, 24. This is a book called The Khazar's Kingdom Conversion to Judaism. All right, on page 267. It says, Khazars usually allied with the Byzantine Empire against Arabs, although they often coveted Byzantine claims and in Crimea. It was funny who came from that Crimea area. The first 100 years of their history essentially is a fierce struggle with the Arabs for Azerbaijan and for the control of the trade routes leading to Iran. Contacts between Byzantine and Khazar state must have been well established, for the Khazar and Byzantine dynasties intermarried. Justinian, oh wow, now we got some time and dates when they were right. It says, I'm gonna have to look into this. When there were intermarriages between the two to try to make peace. You know how they did that in ancient kingdoms. But it says, established for the Khazar and Byzantine dynasties intermarried, Justinian the second ruled from 685 to 711, married Theodora, a sister of the Khazar emperor. All right, so we're gonna look up this history on Theodora and her husband here. It says a sister of the Khazar emperor in 698. Constantine V, 741 to 775, married the Khazar princess Tizatak, baptized Irene in 733. The son became Emperor Leo IV. And were also see, this is giving you Khazar history. They try to make it sound like these people it was a myth. They didn't exist. All right, you know what I mean? Right. They give you receipts and dates and marriages. Okay. Well, also the Khazar origin. For instance, the Fotis, the patriarch of Constantinople, 855 to 867, 877 to 886. Despite these direct ties, no Byzantine author, not even a historian, Theopanes, 817, or learned Emperor Constantine VII, wait, hold on, see, it says, I skipped over something. There were also Khazars of origin, for instance, Photius, the patriarch of Constantinople, 855 to 867, 877 to 886. Despite the direct ties, no Byzantine author, nor even historian, Theopanes, or the learned Emperor Constantinople VII, Porphyrogenitus, 913 to 959, made any mention of the conversion of the Khazar kingdom to Judaism. All right, so they're saying that there was no conversion, but there's also been said that these people never existed.
Bro.
All right, yeah.
Right.
But let me get to that. What I was looking for, I didn't even know I had that. Here we go. This is the paragraph 23 and 24 Ben Franklin's 1751 letter talking about the people in Eurasia. All right, and I'm gonna start it halfway in 23, and it reads: and since the detachments of the English from the Britain sent to America, we have their places at home so soon supplied and increased largely here. Why should the Palatine Boers be suffered to swarm into our settlements? Now you got to remember, that was they referred to the Morenos as swine, as pigs, as Boers, and it turns out that the Palatine Boers were very dark. They were black pigs. So this is what they were calling these Moors and Morenos in Portugal and Spain. By the way, that's actually what he's talking about. The Sephardic Jews who were kicked out of Spain and Portugal along with the Moors because they were the same people, right? The Sephardim, and the Moors were just simply Israelites, Jakes that converted to Islam. Okay, so it says, so why should the Palatine Boers be suffered to swarm into our settlements? They didn't want them coming over to the Americas. All these Moors that were here in America actually helping build America in its early stages. And by herding together, establish their language and manners to the exclusion of ours. Why should Pennsylvania, founded by the English, become a colony of aliens who would shortly be so numerous as to Germanize us instead of us Anglifying them? So why would he? So I thought Germans were white. Why are you worried about them Germanizing you? Well, we'll keep reading. All right. It says, and will never adopt our language or customs any more than they can acquire our complexion. Damn. Okay. Verse 24. Which leads me to add the remark that the number of purely white people in the world, remember in 1681 they made this up, shortly after the Bacon's Rebellion, okay, and white supremacy and all the lies to protect it have been pushed forward into this very day. All right, which is why we're doing a lesson like this, because it's all based in this made up thing of whiteness and the superiority, the fraud of superiority that came with it. But it says, which leads me to add that the number of purely white people in the world is proportionally very small. All of Africa is black or tawny, all right, meaning Swarthy or tawny, dark and just like in this room right now, you got people that are Swarthy and tawny, okay? And cause see, I got this nice. You can see my actual complexion and see my tan. See, I wish I was this color all the time. But anyway, it says. Asia, chiefly tawny. People about my complexion and darker, but no, but you got people in Asia that is just as dark as some Africans. I've seen them. Okay. It says. Asia, chiefly tawny. America, exclusively of the newcomers, wholly so. So America was swarthy and tawny. All right, before the Edomites came over here. Okay, call themselves Anglo-Saxons, and they're not. They're Edomites. But it says, and in Europe, the Spaniards, the Italians, the French, the Russians, the Swedes are all generally what we call a swarthy complexion. Put your arm in front of the camera. That's a swarthy complexion. Okay, it says, as are the Germans. That's why he didn't want to be Germanized. See, so that's another question for AI. Why did AI not speak about the French, the Germans, the Italians, the Russians? Like the label on my thumbnail is the Russian icons. Okay? Why didn't you talk about these people being swarthy, chocolate in complexion? You see, so and because the relics show that. That's right. All right. So this man is a lion, can't be trusted, and he's clearly programmed AI to cover up and protect his lies as best as it can. All right, but it says, but you know, that's all I needed to read just to prove that point. So when Alexander, we can go back to the scripture now. So when Alexander was going out throughout Europe and Eurasia, they were taking over swarthy and tawny people. And so as they established those Eurasian cities and became the rulers of them, they ruled them in a way to where they tried to make it as if they were always there. You see? And they weren't. Go ahead and read, brother.
This first back to be 1 verse 2. And made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth, and went through to the land, to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations.
So they didn't come to America. They went throughout, the known world at the time, which is basically Asia and Africa. Remember, Europe is in Asia. It's Eurasia. It's Western Asia. All right? But go ahead.
And went through the ends of the earth, and took spoil of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him.
So, right. No, keep reading. Keep reading.
Whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up.
So basically, they began to lighten up the nations, right? The Edomite seed was growing and spreading throughout the known world at the time. Remember, the Northern Kingdom was they didn't have a part of that. Okay, they were here in the Americas. Go ahead.
And he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries and nations,
And later on, but go ahead.
and kings who became tributaries unto him.
Right.
And after these things he fell sick, and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him
And that's his 4 generals. You can read about them in history. All right. Go ahead.
from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them like he was yet alive.
So he parted his kingdom among 4 Edomite men, people you would refer to as Caucasian or white today. All right, go ahead. They put on crowns, I believe.
Wherefore he called Wherefore he called his servants such as were honorable, and had brought up from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive.
And they were far from honorable because they conspired to kill off his, I think he had 2 sons. They killed them both. All right, well, go ahead.
So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule every one in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years.
All right, and go ahead.
And evils were multiplied in the earth.
So that solidifies Job 9:24. Evils came into the world when white men came into power.
That's right.
And then they began to so-called, all right, because they weren't called white men yet. That came much, much later, a couple thousand years later, all right, almost 3,000 years later. All right, they started calling themselves that, but that's when evils multiplied in the earth, and they're evil to one another. They it called them honorable men, and they were far from such, because they all claimed to have loved Alexander so much, but as soon as he died, they killed his sons. All right. And then they all put crowns and declared themselves the king. And declared themselves royalty. Okay? So, and this is what they have been doing throughout history. Okay? And then as they came into, and so this is why when you read in Joel, why it says that, because that the Israelites were sold unto the Grecians. Because the brother's question is when did white people, where are the images of the Israelis in yokes of iron, naked and in chains, being sold on ships, being sold to Grecians? And why would they be in Africa? When did Israelis get brought into Africa, into Zaire, Tyre, and Zidon, and Palestine? And where are the images of white people? All right, Benjamin Netanyahu and his family, his people, being sold by Africans to Arabs, by Arabs and white, by Arabs and Africans being sold to white Grecians. Where are the relics on that? See this Bible is not for it. It tells on you. What it does is it completely destroys the narrative that you try to create and that you try to attack when we bring it out.
That's right.
Okay? The Bible is saying the opposite. Okay? So go ahead and read that.
This is Joel 3:6. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians, that you might remove them far from their border.
That you might remove them far from their border. So Yet again, where are the relics, okay, of, you know, of the star-wearing Jewish people being sold to Grecians
Where the
with,
whips?
with yokes of iron, with whips on their backs, naked and in chains? Where is it?
That's not.
See, we got a problem here.
Right.
Because the scriptures in Deuteronomy
See-
28 prophesied that this is what be the model, this is the identifiers of who they are.
And then the dummies, you know, these unlearned people with the lie IQ, run right to Deuteronomy 28 and 68 and go to the word buy. See, nobody bought them. Nobody bought. Really? I thought you had a high IQ. No, you got a lie IQ. You're really low level,
Very.
right? Because guess what? It's funny, the people you deny match that prophecy in Deuteronomy 28 and 68. Somebody can go ahead and read it.
I got you. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 68, and it reads, and thou, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
Right. So once again, when it says buy, it means redeem. No one shall save you. That you're going to go into the slave-like condition as a bondman and a bondwoman, and that you will be sold to Edomites. Go ahead and break that down, and then what are you holding?
You have me holding on to Zechariah 9:13.
Keep that.
Or,
But
yeah,
you know what? No, you keep that. Go to Amos 1 and 9, big bro.
And this is Quanah. Quanah. It says to get, acquire, create, buy, possess, and then they break down the biblical usage in several scriptures. To get, acquire, obtain, of God, originating, creating, or redeeming his people, possessor of Eve, acquiring knowledge, wisdom, to buy, to be bought, to cause, to possess. And then the strong definition means to erect, for example, create by extensions, to procure, especially by purchase. Now when they say back into the scripture that no man shall buy you, it's the whole Israelite community, all the Israelites that got put over into slavery. You're not going to be bought out of that situation, all of you all, to where you all are free.
Right.
Right now, we are all the Israelites, Negro, Latino, Native Americans, no matter where you are on the planet, we are under the particular rules of whatever particular heathens that are in power.
Yeah.
And no one has the power to buy us out of this situation.
Yeah, we're under
the Lord has
subjection.
to. The Lord has to. They think like, oh y'all wasn't bought. He said nobody should buy you. Like, I got a big man right here. He's 6'4", step out. He's about 300 pounds. He could give me $100, $200. That's not talking about that. It's talking about the whole nation being brought out or bought out of the condition of slavery. We're still here as at this day. We're being sold as at this day on the stock markets, our bonds, through the CUSIP numbers and your birth certificate. We are still slaves as at this day, and no one's going to redeem us out of this situation except Yahweh Bashar, the Redeemer. Why did the Lord give him the title of being the Redeemer? Because he's going to redeem us,
Exactly.
all of us.
He's not going to give that glory to another.
That's right.
And if you can get that Amos 1 and 9, because that proves that these same Edomites that took over Greece, that took over Eurasia, when in Joel, these are the Edomites, right? Because the Israelites were so. Go ahead, brother.
So Amos 1 and 9, it says, "Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Tyrus, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof."
Now Tyrus, those were Hamite nations, all right? So once again, where was Finkelstein, Goldstein, Netanyahu on ships, naked, being sold by Africans in time, to Grecians?
There's no
It's, exactly. Go ahead.
They were Canaanites, I believe.
Oh, they had a record.
Exactly.
Of it. If they had a record, they would be posting that and plastering all over the news, the media, billboards, and everything. They say right now over 9/11, 9/11, they said we will never forget. if that was ever to happen to them,
Never forget how,
oh, they would.
how they danced when the buildings went down.
Come on, man.
I just saw the video. Who was dancing when the buildings went down?
Come
Go
on,
ahead,
man.
Continue, brother.
So like a Tiny Top told me that. He said, we have the records going back to the Messiah. I said, I would love to see that. He was like, oh, but they're private.
Yeah, but unfortunately, go ahead, brother.
Okay, this
It's
is,
just like the Fairbairn's Book of Crest that's in Nature Notes No Caroline. All the crests that go back to Scotland, UK, and Ireland. Of all the jigs that were over there, they had a whole book of all the crests. You can't get that crest.
It's from Donald Fairbairn's.
Yeah, Fairbairn's Book.
It's
Yeah.
1869.
Mhm.
Donald Fairbairn's book of the books of crest
Mhm.
of Europe, showing you all so-called Negroes, and it's in the Library of Congress, and only a congressman can, a citizen,
Not even a congressman, a senator.
right? A regular citizen cannot rent that book.
And
Yeah.
even
Just
the regular
so-
congressman can. Only the senators can.
Yeah. So what's that telling you?
Mm-hmm.
But nevertheless, finish that scripture about the shot.
amazing. It says, for 3 transgressions of Tyrus, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they delivered up the whole captivity to Edom, and remembered not the brotherly covenant.
Right, so proving that the Israelites were sold to Edom, and that the Edomites, through Alexander, became the Grecians. So you people are cold busted, man. You're busted and disgusted. Whatever you
It's
got.
from ChatGPT. It says the major Greek city-states viewed Philip II and Alexander the Great as outsiders, primarily because Macedonia was not considered fully Greek by Southern Greeks, culturally, politically, or socially.
Because they were Edomites.
Um,
All right? They were Edomites. Okay? You can get that was it Zechariah or Zephaniah? What did I have? Zechariah 9 and 13.
If I can read this quick history
Absolutely,
on
brother.
Amos, it says, I just AI it. It said, when Amos spoke, the prophecy was delivered around 760 BC during the reigns of King Uzziah of Judah and King Jeroboam II of Israel. When the historical crime happened, Amos is condemning Tyre's recent and ongoing actions where Phoenician merchants collaborated.
Phoenicians, that goes back to the word Palestine, Palatine, Canaanites. You know, the sons of Ham that you try to say that they're Canaan, you know, well, that's why black people went into slavery, because Canaan got cursed, right? Well, Canaan was the son of Ham, all right? So that's a good. Because why do you always make Goliath a white man?
for real.
You know, when he was an African. But go ahead, continue.
Yep, it says where Phoenician merchants collaborated with neighboring nations like Edom, Philistia,
Ooh.
and Aram to capture people and sell them into slavery.
Now we just gave you a biblical record of the Edomites taking all of Eurasia, all of Asia, all of Eurasia, during the time of Alexander of Macedon, basically a name stealer.
If I may, real quick.
Go ahead.
The Phoenicians were the late Canaanites of the first millennia BCE, emerging from the coastal cities of the Levant, primarily in the modern-day Lebanon. They were seafaring people who transformed the older Bronze Age Canaanite heritage into a vast Mediterranean-wide network of maritime trade and colonization. So how do they separate the Phoenicians from being Canaanites? They're the same. And if you go and look and do any simple history, you'll see that.
Yep.
That's all. So
That was Solomon's navy. That's the ones who sent
Hiram.
Exactly.
Hiram.
The Olmecs. That's what that is.
That scripture in Joel that you ran about, when they were sold to, was that 3 and 9?
It was 3 and 6.
3 and 6, kind of. Yeah, these precepts, you know, in the book of Psalms,
Mhm.
119 and 104 basically breaks down that we get understanding through thy precepts. And you can't deny these precepts.
Yeah.
All right, these precepts are showing you that Edom stole the names of other people,
Mhm.
all right, called themselves Greece, and that they were selling the Israelites, and they were purchasing the Israelites from the Hamites, proving that what we say. because they teach the lie. Well, black people are selling other black people. No, Hamites, Canaanites, sons of Canaan, right, were selling the Hebrew Israelites to the Grecians, to so-called white people. So once again, we're reading this, and I've yet to see or learn in school or ever seen a book or document or image of, you know, any of the Three Stooges, because they were all, you know,
Right.
them. You know, any people that look like them in chains on ships, being sold by black people, Africans, to other white people. You see, you done caught yourself up. Where you at, vocab? All right. So basically, your doctored up lies. That's Job 13:9-4. 13:4. You're all physicians. As a matter of fact, somebody grab that real quick. And was there some more to that, Shimon?
That was basically it on that.
Okay,
This is Job 13:4. But ye are forgers of lies. Ye are all physicians of no value. And they're estranged from the womb. As soon as they go forward, they just get to speaking lies. That's what they are. They're just straight liars and stealers.
Name stealers.
Heritage stealers.
And they're still stealing names. And as a matter of fact, and then also in the book of Ezekiel. All right? You know, because hell, this pretty much, let's y'all got some more. This pretty much wraps up the lesson. Because in Ezekiel, it gives you the ultimate that they're still stealing. As of recently, they stole the land of Israel and claimed that they're the people of the Lord. All right. So this biblical record proves that to be true. That means that needs to have been a time and place where a group of humanity began to call themselves by the name of the people of the Lord, and that's where the Khazarian history comes in. And there were too many different. So it's like all these people that lived in different time frames that didn't know each other, that had didn't know nothing about nothing, as far as one another, but all of them just decided to just have some, who are we? Oh, we're the Khazar hater groups. We're just gonna create a history about them, and just tell a bunch of lies.
Right.
Like what profit is that to these people were from different time frames, different areas, and didn't know each other at all. It was too many different authors that wrote about it. All right, too many. It's too many references. All right, but somebody get that Ezekiel 36, verse 2 and verse 5, because this is the ultimate, identity theft, name stealing.
This is Ezekiel 36:2. Thus saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, because the enemy has said against you, aha, even the ancient high places are ours in possession.
Mm-hmm.
Do I skip to verse 5?
Yeah, but there's just right. The ancient high places. What's the ancient high place? The land of Israel.
Right.
All right. The enemy. Who's the enemy of the Lord? The Edomites. He said he would have war with Amalek from generation to generation. Go ahead, brother.
It says verse 6, prophesy therefore concerning the land of Israel, or verse 5, it says, therefore thus saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds.
And why is this prophecy ignored by Judeo-Christianism completely?
Right.
They'll talk about they will not touch this. Vocab, I don't recall Vocab ever moving his lips, because usually when he's having a debate, everything's orchestrated and controlled anyway. So he already knows ahead of time nobody's going to bring up Ezekiel 36:5. All right. As a matter of fact, who was on Amos 1 and 9?
Yeah, I just read that.
Okay, you go ahead and read it again,
Okay.
and then read verses 11 and 12 afterwards.
Okay.
Because it's over for you Edomites, man. Why is the Lord going to visit, Teman and Basra? Every place where Edom is considered, Basra.
That's right.
Okay, go ahead, brother.
Matter of fact, Vocab said Edom was done away with.
Yeah.
That's his take.
And now that lie has been completely destroyed, because I asked the AI why the rabbis. Well, that's a whole lesson I'm gonna do. Mm-hmm. Why the rabbis pointing out that Judeo-Christianism you know, is Edom, and so it gives you a whole breakdown on it. And it wasn't until, because when I kept saying it, it kept denying it until I brought the rabbis into it.
Right.
I said, because you going to call the rabbis liars now? Wouldn't call the rabbis liars. It actually went and found some information and agreed with me. Oh yeah. So yeah, right.
Now
Go
that
ahead,
you
brother.
mention.
Now that you mention it, you know, because it's not just one rabbi. Okay, but go ahead, brother.
It's Amos 1:9. Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Tyrus, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they have delivered up the whole captivity to Edom, and remembered not the brotherly covenant.
Mm.
But I will send a fire on the wall of Tyrus, which shall devour the palaces thereof, which later Alexander the Great actually did. He actually destroyed Tyrus and Zidon, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It said, thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. But I will send a fire upon Teman, which shall devour the palaces of Basra.
Oh, so it's over, man. You're cold busted, you're exposed. The Bible gives clear receipts that Esau, Edom is the name stealers. All right, and yeah, and then they change their names to try to hide who they are. And their history definitely goes back to, there's a portion of them, not all of them, but there's a particular remnant of people on this earth today who were the Khazars. And it's quite clear who those people are today. Hey, so with that, man, we're going to give all praises, all honor and glory unto
Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushai Ba'ashem Rakakadash,
Kwam Yasharallah,
Kwam Yasharallah,
Bob Babal.
Abba Babal.
That's what's up. Straight to the point, brothers.